Ian Scheller, international consultant, internationalconsultantbureau.com. Get there by going to ianscheller.com, clicking at the top to the International Consultant Bureau. Your guide to learning the World Wide Web. You're listening to the Web Basic Podcasts. Today we're going to talk about browsers. On this episode, really quick or really slow, probably 10 minutes of your time. Hopefully you guys have been getting a kick out of the previous episodes. Very glad to have the opportunity to lay down this info. I believe a lot of this stuff is essential to the novice and the expert. And, when you're doing a web project, something that's tied to the internet, you got to know what you're getting into. Because if you don't, you're going to burn money. And you're gonna be pissed. And when that happens, you can't really produce anything, and all it will do is slow down your business. Now, if you don't have a business, that's fine. Maybe you want a website, for something hobby-wise or, community-wise. All this information still applies. And I hope you could use it. So web browsers. Back in the day, when the web hit the university, which is where I really started getting into it, we had Internet Explorer, we had Netscape Communicator. In fact, I think it was Netscape Communicator was what we were using first. And it was a browser. Actually, if you trace back Firefox, you could trace it back to Netscape. The two kind of cross paths. Now, I'm not really going to get into the nuts and bolts of how the browsers actually work, but I'm going to just tell you about their quirks, at least the main ones that are out there. So if you're on a PC and you've got Windows 7 or Vista, you're probably running Internet Explorer 8, maybe 9, depending if your business allows for it, or if you're at home and you're savvy. So Internet Explorer 8 or 9. Big differences between the two. 8 is kind of, I think, the last bastion of old Internet Explorer browsers. These are basically browsers that have their own way of reading code. It's a Microsoft product. It's reliable in its own way, but in other ways it's can be incredibly frustrating to work with if you don't really know what else is out there. A lot of people are using Firefox now. That's another browser, and it's been very good. You could do a lot with Firefox. I would say more than you could do with Internet Explorer. It's just a matter of taste, really, but Firefox is very helpful for those people who are developing on the web and building for the web. There's Google Chrome, which is a very fast browser. Of course, it's Google's primary browser product, but it's very fast, super rapid, fast, but again, very good for developing with. If you're building for the web, and it's just tied in really nicely with the Google products if you're a fan of those. There's, of course, Safari that Mac puts out, which is the Macintosh browser. Most people that have Macs just use Safari because it comes installed on the system. And further down the line, there are other browsers. I believe Camino is another one. There's Opera, which is very popular overseas in Europe. And that's a great browser as well. Very fast and very specific with standardized code. So when you're getting your website done, again, you're going to want to hit the major browsers. So it's got to be Internet Explorer 8, possibly 9 at this point because it is out there. I think they're getting to 10 rather quickly. Firefox, Google Chrome, Safari, and pretty much by then you're good. Now remember, once you get to those other devices, your mobiles and your tablets, you're working with the same browsers. However, they're going to be slightly different again because of the way the mobile device behaves. So there's extra testing time there, like we talked about in the last episode. Now, depending on what your preference is and how savvy you get with the internet, that'll probably determine which browser you're using. Firefox and Explorer have add-on capabilities where people write mini programs that you can load into the browser that will enhance your browser and turn it into something else. And there's all a bunch of little applications that you could get to add on. Most of them are free. I think all of them are free. So when you're choosing your browser, you want to think of safety on your computer, and you just want to think ease of use. And ease of use is where it really comes down to. If you're comfortable working in Internet Explorer and browsing, by all means do that. But just remember, everyone's not using that browser, and your web project specifically should look good on the major browsers. And if you did a Google and just said major browsing software, you'll get a few different percentage breakdowns of who's using what across the world. If your site's international, you might not just be troubleshooting for Internet Explorer 8 and 9, you might be going backwards and troubleshooting all the way down to Internet Explorer 6. Now, for those of you out there that build sites, you know Internet Explorer 6 is a crazy browser. Now, it can be done, and there's ways to code for older browsers and make it look just as good as in a new browser. It takes more time, it's a little more tricky, but most of China is still using Internet Explorer 6. I think 60%. So pick a good browser, try them all out because they're all free. See which one you like, and make sure to test for all of them. So I just want to give a shout out to lewprint.com, LEWPRINT.com. If you're going to have a wedding coming up or a big party, bat mitzvahs, sweet 16s, you got to get invitations. It's really kind of essential. And you can get those at lewprint.com. Any sort of big party invitations, and also postcards, flyers, pads. It's a really nice gift to just get someone pads with their name on them. Now, a lot of people don't even write letters anymore, but a nice little box of envelopes and stationery with the name on it for thank you, handwritten thank you notes. Oh my God, handwritten. I said it. Lewprint.com. Mention this podcast and maybe you'll get a deal. Maybe you won't. Maybe Lewis will just be like, that's fine. Large format posters, that's another great one. Postcards, you can get them glossy, you can get them non-shiny, that's called matte. Really just about anything when it comes to print. Little magazines, booklets, if you're into poetry, you can get your poems published. Check them out, lewprint.com. Let them know I sent you. This has been the International Consultant Bureau talking about browsers. I'm Scheller, the International Consultant. Talk to you soon.